Welcome back, guys, to another episode of The Waiting. It's the big one. It's fight week. Sugar Ray, how are you, bro? Are you excited?
I'm doing all right. Thank you. It's fight week, but it's also wedding season, so it's a lot of busy weekends. I'm sure there's a lot of people that's at weddings getting their phones and monitors out, trying to watch the fights whilst the bride and groom are on the dance floor. But yeah, it's a busy season.
It is, but like I said, it's fight week. We've got a lot of content coming out throughout the entire week. We are going to obviously get into during the week about the Usyk Joshua fight. We're going to hopefully try to get some stuff from the weigh-in and etc. But for this episode today, we are actually going to do a bit of a throwback, and I say that because we are actually going to look at two boxers, and we're going to touch on the idea of when should boxers really retire, and then obviously we'll have even a little look at arms versus bouncer as well. But like I said, we are doing a little throwback, and the reason we're doing that is because David Haye and Evander Holyfield fought, I want to say, was it last week or was it the week?
Last weekend,
yeah. And I'm just going to leave it to you first to start off with. Like, what was your opinion first on both fights? And the big question, when should boxers stay retired and just not even think about it anymore?
I think it's very hard. I think what I've seen some people say as well is that you also got to think that a lot of boxers, they're used to having the highest of highs, the crowd screaming the names and everything. And I remember, I believe Dave said on this album on Survivor's Guilt, he goes, people won't understand how it is to like have 20,000 people screaming your name. You get all that adulation and then it just stops. And then it's like you get a big down that comes down after that. And I think with a lot of fighters, what you find is a lot of them don't know how to let go of that. So they keep on going back to the well to see if they can try reclaim that glory for one reason or another. And listen, Father Time is undefeated. Father Time and Mother Nature is undefeated. Like you can't run from it. And with Holyfield especially, it was sad seeing that because he's a legend. Obviously, it's been very well known that he's had financial difficulties over the years. There's blood on the commissioner's hand because I don't even know how this got commissioned in the first place. And then, in addition to that, as controversial as this opinion is, the best thing to happen for him was to get ruined by Belfort like that. And the only reason I say that is someone was going to do it eventually. So I would rather him get the reality check of someone that's chin checking him now rather than have a fighter that's going to go in there, start pussyfooting around him, and then he still thinks that he still got it.
Yeah.
Whereas Belfort was that reminder of, listen, you haven't got it no more. Stop doing this.
And do you know what? The thing was, Belfort was, if I'm not wrong, a late step.
Yeah, no. Evander was the latest step in.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking it from that point of view, like Oscar De La Hoya got away with it because I think when Vito Belfort looked, it didn't look good for Holyfield. And I think his last quote unquote professional fight was falling out of the ring. So
it's horrible, man. It's so horrible. The thing is, a lot of the time, fighters are their own worst enemies, but that's why the coaches are there. That's why they've got teams that are there to save them from themselves. Because what makes them great fighters in the first place is also poisonous to them. And I feel like Evander's an example of that. Like, you've got to have people there. And sometimes fighters are just going to be too hard-headed. And this is why I said the Belfort thing was kind of a blessing in disguise, because I'm sure there probably was other people telling Evander, please, you don't have to do this. And he probably just thought, nah, I still got it. I saw him on the pads. And obviously you can't always judge a fight by the pads, but how was moving so slow on the pads? I said, this guy is clearly in no condition. Triller as a brand should feel like someone there should have shame, because I'm not even going to... I was not surprised me that a corporation doesn't have shame for holding this type of fight, but someone needs to be held accountable because there's blood on their hands. This shouldn't have gone through at all.
Do you know what? I want to ask you about David Haye, but I'll just say something on Triller. I don't know if you know my opinion. I just think they're horrendous. Like, honestly, I felt so bad for Teofimo Lopez, the fact that his fight, I believe, is still going to be on there. Because I Thriller's market in some ways. Production goes on the celebrities that they have, Snoop Dogg, stuff like that. So they put out the big money for that. But the actual event that they will host
horrible.
Will be horrible. It'll be a comic show. It'll essentially be like a nostalgia app. That's the way I see it. Or just some fun to get in a crowd from the past or the social media crowd, like with the Paul brothers. That's what I see of Triller. I don't see them as like if Eddie Hearn's not going to go there.
Oh yeah, of course not. Yeah.
Nothing like that. You're not going to see Al Heyman. Nobody will put their main fighters on there.
Yeah.
And that's what I see about Triller. Now, the one thing I will say about Holyfield, I'm with you. I think it's time. Interestingly, with David Haye, I don't know if I think it's just to get a reaction, really, because he knows who he's baiting out. When he's called out Tyson Fury at the end, what did you think about that?
I think he's just poking fun at the bear. I think it's two things. It's a thing of he's poking fun at the bear because obviously if you watch BT Sports content a lot, you would see that David Haye and Tyson Fury's dad, John Fury, they always have animated face-off. They're always that having huge discussions. Oh, I'm going to bet this and I'm going to bet that so-and-so will win. So I think it was like a fun jab at Tyson Fury. But on the other hand, whether you might consider this a hot take, with the way that Fury's career goes, he might just take this fight. And David Haye might just say, do you know what? Big final payday. Why not? And don't get me wrong, is once again, it's going to go back to that thing of Father Time's going to have his way with David Haye, but he probably just thinking it's a nice check. Fury will do what he normally does and try to find a way out of the fights that he's supposed to fight. I still don't even know if this one's happening, but that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, I think it's just David Haye taking. I think it's a friendly jab, get more attention on him as well. So wherever his next moves are, people will look at it. And he done it the smart way. Is that David Haye called out people in a celebrity fight that he knows, you know, this person can't hurt me.
Yeah.
So shout out David Haye, man. That's a smart business move on his part. Especially, look, listen, we're still talking about him calling out Fury now, so he must be doing something right.
Something right. And with that, we might be talking about it. We want to hear what you guys are saying about it as well. So we want you, again, as always, we want you to follow all our socials. You can see them. It's Twitter and Instagram _ the weigh in _ If you like the content on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. It's at YouTube / the weigh in podcast. You know, we bring you as much content as we can do. We obviously want to hear all your engagement. When do boxers need to be retired? Is it one final payday for everybody? Do they ever lose that hunger? All these questions, we want all your comments and answers as well. Just quickly then, whilst we're on the topic of celebrity fighting, novelty fighting and stuff, I want you to just speak on this a bit more. Arms versus bouncer. Talk to me about the whole event.
Oh, man.
Because we were speaking about it just before we actually went on.
Yeah.
Like an interesting take on how you actually give them a bit more respect than probably a lot of the general consensus do.
Yeah.
I just want you to speak on that just quickly and what you thought about the whole thing, because all I read on social media, I didn't watch it. I saw on social media, it was just a hug fest.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this one and see what you thought about it.
Do you know what? It's funny because a lot of the time, especially for whatever reason, when it comes to combat sports, jokes are going to run regardless. Even if you know better, the jokes are going to run. So obviously you see a lot of the jokes on... I guess they're saying Arms is like he's done all these magnificent feats that he does when he lifts up logs and everything. Why didn't you do that in the fight? And then on the bouncer side, it's like, oh, all he done was hug him. And I think a lot of the time it's like a bit of arrogance / underappreciation for what fighters really do. Because to go in there and even make it a 5-rounder, I thought was crazy. There's a lot of like pro fighters that in the 5th round, you see them gassing out. So I don't know why people just think, and this isn't even just talking about Arms and bounce. I think people just think that
in general,
you always become desensitized because you see it, because you see fighters and fights all the time that you think, oh, you just see everyone just always going all these long rounds and you think that it's normal. But if you've ever been in a gym, you would understand that that is not no easy feat in the slightest. This is coming from someone that's competed before, and I'm thankful that my first fight went. My first fight was 1.5 minutes because that people don't take into account like nerves, adrenaline rush, adrenaline dump, just like performing under pressure. Like it's big things. Like there's a lot of people we call it gym heroes. There's a lot of people in the gyms. This are fantastic fights. You see some absolutely brilliant talents in the gym, pulling off all sorts of moves. And then when it comes to the bright lights, they don't show. It doesn't show sometimes. And I feel like what I saw with the bouncer fight, he done the right thing. Listen, why is he gonna go in there and try to strike with arms? Go in there, play to your strength. It's not going to be the most entertaining, and this is why I also think the skill set needed to learn in MMA is very different to the skill set needed to learn in boxing. Whereas the ground game in MMA takes so long to learn in itself that I just feel like if people want to do this whole celebrity fights and everything, stick to boxing. And the only reason, and that's not a disrespect to boxing, the only reason I'm saying that is you just need to learn one skill set. Now, don't get me wrong, you have to learn it in more of an intricacy than you would MMA, but being able to just focus on one skill set for me is better than trying to learn multiple, because it's just not going to turn out well. And for fans' entertainment as well, watching low-level boxing will probably be more entertaining than watching low-level MMA, only because the techniques that can, at least in boxing, if it's low-level boxing, sometimes you're going to get a slugfest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, props to bounce and arms. A lot of people are now saying they're revoking their gym membership because apparently it doesn't mean nothing in a fight. I wouldn't go that far. I still wouldn't go as far as to think that you can just beat any other like bodybuilder on road. But I think for me, what it showed is that people just need to have a deeper appreciation for just combat sports and what it takes to get in there to fight under pressure and just to learn a whole new skill set. And then I think it would also make people appreciate the pros more when you see them tired and, you know, going and having absolute crazy battles. And once again, this is when I've been consistent with saying this, I always give props to KSI for how he conducted himself in his boxing training and when he was fighting, because he wasn't the greatest by any means, but you could tell he took it seriously and he took the necessary baby steps. He didn't just go in there and fight, you know, just because they had the money. Oh, let me go in there and fight 10 rounds or 12 rounds. They're like, no, I'm an amateur. I think his first fight was like, 4-3 rounds.
Yeah.
Then he had another fight that was like around the same. And then by the time he fought Logan Paul, it was 6 rounds. So by that point, it's not saying he's just some like great person, but it's like at least he took the baby step. Like those guys doing 5 rounds yesterday. Listen, that's nuts. No wonder their bodies must have been absolutely gassed. It's crazy. But listen, man, it's nice to see. I just hope that like I said, I don't mind the celebrity combat sports. Or let me say celebrity boxing. All that celebrity MMA, it's not the prettiest.
I think just for me on like a short side, I'm gonna completely agree with you with this point that MMA, in terms of the disciplines, there's a significant more that you have to learn than with boxing. And also, like I've seen, like for example, like my brothers who aren't boxing people really, they may look at like a welterweight fight and say, "Oh, it's a boring." But a celebrity fight is swinging out. And I think for casual, when they associate celebrity boxing, they say, "Look how many views this gets and that gets." They say, "Look at the decline of boxing." But in reality, if I had a platform, I was going to combat sport, I'd choose boxing for that purpose. That all I have to do is learn to box to a certain level and not anything else. And I think that's what this particular fight, that it can get a bit boring, but I think I'm with you on the title aspect. I think people just won't appreciate professional athletes even still, because they'll say it's your job, you should and stuff like that. But we are going to wrap this episode up. we've given our little takes on professional fighters staying retired. We looked at a little bit of celebrity boxing. And now, like I said, we want to obviously hear your thoughts. So what we just need you to drop some comments on our YouTube videos. Follow us on all our socials, _Dwayne_ on Twitter and Instagram. Like I said, we've got a range of content coming out this entire week. All the socials there. Look, Figure is pointing at everything. Go ahead and do all that, and then you get involved with all the conversations. Again, bro, I appreciate you for coming on. Until next time, see you, bro.
Peace.